stuff. Now, just before I let you go, I saw earlier on Instagram you said you want to be the first to predict that Anthony Yarde would win the unified light heavyweight world titles this weekend by KO.
Okay.
By KO against Artur Beterbiev. What gives you that level of faith that Yarde will get the job done at Wembley?
I think, okay, so it's a mixture of things. I watched the interview piece. I do think that the mindset is extremely important in a fight like this. He seems relaxed and he seems to know what I think most of us know he has to do. Although Yarde is extremely athletic, got good reactions, good defense, the thing is, when you're boxing someone who's so vastly experienced, amateur and professional, they've seen so many different styles. So they know how to keep the distance, pop a jab, step back, slap right shot, whatever. So it's like, I don't like, and this is no discredit, I don't like a decision, maybe, like, yeah, but it's a tough ask to be in a ring for 12 rounds with a guy like Beterbiev. However, he can do that, definitely. However, I think he knows he's explosive, very fast, very powerful, a very good power puncher. And he, in my opinion, I don't know, I've heard a lot about Callum Johnson's punching power, but I think although you can't take someone else's work and say, I'm going to do that too, like Callum Johnson got a knockdown, he might get a knockdown. You can't do that. However, you do know that Beterbiev's whole thing is wrecking machine. So he does not mind standing in mid-range. And every shot he's just got natural punching power. So I don't think he's even loading up. So it is dangerous being in there, but all it takes is one little fast shot in the midst of that from Yarde, a little combination, and you could hurt him. And I think Yarde knows if he hurts him, you get one shot in this life. So this is one where I say empty the tank for real. So I do think he has more than enough skill. He's been boxing for long enough now. They can get in there and have a shootout and come out on top.
Do you know Yarde particularly well?
We know each other. We know each other.
And is that, I don't want to say is your heart ruled in your head, but do your feelings come into it at all?
Yes and no. For example, I know Buatsi's a serious fight, but I've seen Buatsi in the gym more. I'm going off of fights. I'm going off of what I've seen in the fights. Of course, it's not against someone like Beterbiev, but in them pockets, you can see how explosive Yarde is. Boom, he's lifting people off the ground with his shots. So if you talk about power for power, obviously I think Yarde's obviously a faster fighter. It's like, if we're making it a 6-round shootout, which I believe it will be, let's be honest, they're not going to be jabbing and stepping back from each other. They're going to meet in mid-range and see what's good. Do you know what I mean? So why not?
And against Sergei Kovalev in Yarde's previous world title shot, he started a little bit slowly and then obviously nearly stopped him before the end. Do you think it's important in this one, because you don't expect it to go far beyond halfway, that Yarde starts fast and, you know, takes the centre ring?
Absolutely. 2 reasons is one, Beterbiev starts fast. Like he starts fast. He pops the double jab. He gets people on the roll. Like, he's a good fighter. He is a good fighter. I can't lie. I've watched it. He's a good fighter. Yeah, he's sick. So why am I mentioning? So I think you have to start fast, because otherwise he starts building momentum. He starts landing on your arms, gets a body shot, and he does hit hard enough to stop anyone. As you've seen, 14 fights, some against other world champions who who are good enough to not get stopped by someone else, but they get stopped by him. So it's like, it creates that sort of thing of like, we don't want people like that, big tanks, getting momentum, boom, because you don't know, one shot, oh, my arm's a bit dead, oh God, my rib hurts, oh, that hurt, I'm wobbled. So now your confidence isn't there to do the damage that you could do, because you're not, you're now stuck in that mode of like, maybe if I walk into another one of those, I might go. So you start as you mean to go on and just go to work. Now, that would be my advice. Obviously, I'm not a coach, I'm just a boxer. So but I would say you have to start fast, and you have to risk it. Because I'm telling you, it's like guys like Beterbiev, guys like Triple G, guys who are just natural, ferocious punchers from round 1 to round 12 that hold the power, because they're not explosive, they're just strong. Boom. You have to stop them from working. Like, you have to just work on them. Otherwise, like as you saw with Canelo versus Triple G, the first time they boxed, I thought Triple G won, even though it was a draw or whatever the decision was. I thought Canelo was more boxing on the back foot, blah, blah, blah. Second fight came, Canelo said, cool, front foot, let's go to work. And I felt like he done enough to win that based on the fact that Triple G is used to being the machine coming forward, same as Beterbiev. So it's like some guys like that, if you have the ability, the strength, the power, the youth, the tenacity, you come forward and you work. But yeah, that's a little bit of my heart, a little bit of what I hope happens, and a little bit of also what I think has a very good chance of happening in England. Like Yarde's not scared of him. Like, it's just go to work.
I just want to ask you before we round off, more from a fighter's perspective this time rather than a coach's. We saw with Callum Johnson, who you mentioned earlier, he had Beterbiev down, didn't finish him off. Yarde had Kovalev in all sorts of trouble in his world title shot, didn't finish him off. How tough is it as a fighter when you get your opponent hurt to not go gung-ho and to take your time and to pick your shots?
It depends who you're fighting. So I think there's certain people who you're looking at, i.e. we saw AJ and Klitschko, same thing. Klitschko hurt AJ, could not step on it. Because when you're looking at certain people, yeah, when you're in the ring, it's like you also know that they still have puncher power to hurt you. Do you get where I'm coming from? And Yarde tried, but I think the round ended in that fight. And Callum Smith is like, yo, it's like you still know you can't just be reckless. Like you still have to work. So the natural instinct is to box and find the shot again. Where some people like Wilder, even like Riakporhe, they've got that natural thing where as soon as they hurt someone, they say all in. Like they put all their chips on the field. And it's such a good quality to have. The only problem is you do see people getting caught in them exchanges where they're on top and then all of a sudden they're the one that's down and whatever else. It happens all the time. Like we've seen it happen in fights I'm not going to talk about. But sometimes it's like there is still a risk. You're in there with a trained fighter who's, oh, I'm not down. I've got 10 seconds to recover. By 5, you don't know if they're 100% back or not. So, but you know, innit, like you do know there are telltale signs. So with that fight against with Beterbiev versus Callum Johnson, he got up, he was a little bit dazed, but then 10 seconds cool, 5 seconds later, he's still back throwing punches. So you know he's okay. Where some fighters, you hit them in the 10 seconds, you can still see them swaying. You're looking, praying, get out of the way. This one's over. So it does depend. But that's my opinion anyway. And from what I see of boxing, it's just like some people you still think to yourself, is it there? Is it not there? But in a fight like this, you just have to, like I said, I don't give a toss if it's there or not. I'm going to make it be there. So we'll see.
I hope whatever deal you strike with Boxer, if you do, they give you some punditry work as well, as they've done with many of their fighters. I think you'd be really good doing that regularly.
Thank you. I'll give it my best shot.
Yeah, good stuff. All right. Well, I wish you well for the rest of your camp. And yeah, I look forward to catching up on Fight Week.